This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Monday, August 26th, 2024. I'm Marek Mazurek. The president of the University of Evansville says the recently announced partnership with Toyota Indiana to advance STEM education in Southwest Indiana follows a 15-month design process. The university was named a coordinating partner of the automaker's Driving Possibilities initiative and received a $2 million grant from the Toyota USA Foundation. The initiative is benefiting K-12 students at schools in the North Gibson School Corporation and the Evansville Vanderburg School Corporation, and UE President Christopher Petruskevich said the goal is to support both students and teachers.
You can't start early enough. I know I'm a university president and we talk about higher education a lot, but the idea that it doesn't start when you get to high school. It starts before kindergarten. And if we can help form the minds of people before they even get to school, the better chance we have as a country and the better chance we have as a state.
Petruskevich said the long-term goal of the initiative is to increase STEM education for all of Southwest Indiana and help prepare students as early as possible for future careers, whether they decide to pursue higher education or not. One of the largest community healthcare providers in the state, Bowen Health Clinic, broke ground last week on a $10 million integrated health facility in Warsaw. The new health center aims to combine a variety of services from primary care to mental health to addiction recovery and even space for a dentist's office and pharmacy. Bowen specializes in mental health treatment, but the new center aims to treat both the physical and mental health of their patients. It's an approach Bowen executives say has seen positive results, and the not-for-profit has added primary care services at existing locations in recent years. The building is scheduled to be done by the fall of 2025. It comes on the heels of Bowen opening a mental health crisis center in Pierceton in July. From the #1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indiana, your bold future starts here. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the Engage Indiana series, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. With an unrelenting focus on growing Indiana's economy, our Engage Indiana events take place in every region of the state. Discover when we'll be in your area at ibj.com/engage.
The National Park Service is set to receive the largest grant in history, a $100 million gift from the Lilly Endowment. The money is going to the National Park Foundation, the National Park Service's nonprofit fundraising arm. The Park Foundation said the gift is the largest grant in history benefiting U.S. national parks. Park Service representatives said initial goals will be to use the money on restoring coral reefs at Biscayne National Park in Florida and restoring trout species in several western parks. Beyond that, the group wants to use the money to create opportunities for young people to visit parks. Kroger and Albertsons will defend their plan to merge and try to overcome the U.S. government's objections in a federal court hearing scheduled to begin Monday in Oregon. The two companies propose what would be the largest supermarket merger in U.S. history in October of 2022. They say joining together would help them rein in costs and better compete with big rivals like Walmart and Costco. But the Federal Trade Commission sued to block that deal, saying it would eliminate competition and raise grocery prices in a time of already high inflation. The FTC is seeking a preliminary injunction that would block the merger while its complaint goes before an in-house administrative law judge. In a 3-week hearing set to begin Monday, U.S. District Judge Adrian Nelson is expected to hear from around 40 witnesses, including the CEOs of Kroger and Albertsons, before deciding whether to issue that injunction. As Hoosier education leaders lean deeper into a statewide model that emphasizes work-based learning, a new report from the Indiana Fiscal Policy Institute cautions that scaling apprenticeship programs in the state, quote, will be challenging. The IFPI brief recommended that state lawmakers simplify the regulation and oversight of apprenticeships to make it easier for employers and intermediaries to navigate the system. State-funded incentives to pay for workforce training and education, plus subsidies for apprentices' wages through grants or tax credits, is also recommended. The report comes as the State Department of Education is proposing major changes to high school diplomas that place more emphasis on work-based learning. The IFPI says if employers are expected to give those work-based learning experiences, they have to, quote, drastically increase their internal capacity to do so. And the Indiana Department of Natural Resources is awarding nearly $1.2 million in grants to support 18 lake, river, and watershed land treatment projects. The fundraising is being made available through the DNR's Lake and River Enhancement Program, or LARE. The goal of the projects is to improve water quality by reducing sediment and nutrient inputs, which the DNR says help fish and wildlife populations and improves recreational opportunities. For a list of organizations receiving funds, head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com. South Bend Mayor James Mueller is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast hosted by Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Mark Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand.